Hello, it is I, Sam, your old friend who keeps going missing. Today I thought we would sit down and do just a chatty get ready with me to kind of ease myself back into the YouTube game and also just chit chat about something that comes naturally to me, which is acne coverage. I really love acne coverage. Like, this is all of my eye, lip and cheek makeup, and this is all of my coverage products. You can tell I've spent a lot of time and money trying to figure out how to make my skin look nice. I have struggled with acne for the past over a decade at this point, and it doesn't seem to be going away, but I do feel like I have gotten some amount of control over it. This is my better side. Today you're going to be seeing more of my bad side, however. I have a lot of hyperpigmentation, but not a lot of active acne. I think I have like one active breakout right now. And I've been able to bring my acne under control of late using two things mainly. Number one is this Deconstruct Retinol Serum. Till now, I had only used prescription tretinoin and adapalene, and I thought that was going to give me the best acne treatment possible. But I've realized that those can be a little bit harsh on sensitive skin, and when I switched to something gentler like this retinol, my skin barrier had like a fighting chance. And the other thing I keep on repurchasing, this is probably my 5th time buying this, is the Chemist at Play serum that has 10% azelaic acid and also 10% niacinamide, and then sunscreen in the morning. So let's get into the makeup. Until very recently, I didn't feel like primer was necessarily an important step in makeup. I thought it was just, a glorified moisturizer in a 30 milliliter packaging, and I was like, I'm too smart of a consumer to go for something like that. But I have really been enjoying this grippy primer. This is the only kind of primer that ever caught my interest. This is from e.l.f., by the way. It's their 4% niacinamide one. The interesting thing about this formula is that whatever you put on top of it, it attains a very tacky, dewy finish, even if it's like a powdery concealer or a powdery foundation. Highly recommended if you're going to be wearing makeup that you want to last for a long time. This is a good thing to have. I already had sunscreen on, by the way, but I put it on a while ago because I wanted it to have a chance to sink into my skin a bit so that it's not disturbed by whatever I put on top afterwards. So I think the trick to covering your acne and acne marks in a seamless way so that after you do your makeup you can't really see it as much is, number one, picking the right color, and number two, putting concealer on before you do the rest of your makeup. So let me show you what I mean. I am going to go in with this PAC concealer in the shade Mocha. I recently purchased it. They reformulated it, and it used to be powdery and matte before apparently, and now they call it hydrating, but I still do think it's matte. Though it is yellowy, on me it still reads as kind of pink and dark because I have a medium olive skin tone and this is like a golden medium tan color. So golden colors are still going to look a little bit pink on olive skin tones because of the green in our skin. Something just a little bit deeper and pinker is enough to cover hyperpigmentation. But I'm just going to use this teeny tiny eyeliner brush that I got from a Maybelline gel liner as my concealer brush today. So this concealer is really nice because if I give it a second to set, it will stay and not budge. And that combined with the primer makes sure that the coverage I'm applying right now is not going to go anywhere. And you can see I'm not even opening the bottle all the way. I'm just touching the excess product on the stem, what do you call that, on the doe foot's leg, and just placing it wherever I find there to be excessive hyperpigmentation. I also really enjoy doing this because it kind of teaches you that even though you feel like you have really bad uneven skin, The skin that actually bears hyperpigmentation on it is probably only 10% of your total skin area. So if you go in thinking that you need a really high coverage makeup look to cover acne, it's going to be a self-fulfilling prophecy. You're going to add so much product on, and then foundation doesn't really cover pigmentation that well, so you're going to need to put concealer on top of that anyway. So you're going to have to cover that concealer with foundation again because it doesn't match exactly, and it's just too much makeup. And then you're going to have this core belief that if you have acne, you just need to put a ton of makeup on. And you guys, when you're buying concealer or foundation, please give it a second to oxidize and set on your face, because I see so many influencers online just swatch a shade and immediately compare it to their skin and see if it's a match. But then they say nothing about the dry down and what it looks like after it oxidizes. If you ever get a chance to try a concealer on, please wait for it to be done and then buy it if it still matches you after the dry down. So this actually looks a bit light for me when I first apply it, but as it dries, you can see it starts disappearing. It's actually completely dried down. I can't even make it budge with a sponge at the moment. I'm using a teeny concealer brush from Real Techniques to stipple that and diffuse the line around the patch. So why did I put that initial bit of concealer? It's to maintain the coverage on that hyperpigmentation and make sure that even once I blend, I'm not blending that pinpoint of coverage away. I hope I'm making sense. I feel like talking and doing your makeup makes you a little bit incoherent. I don't know how people do this. And you can see, right, how much clearer my skin looks at the moment. And we're not even done yet. This is also a reason why I actually don't prefer giant 2-foot applicators, because the point of concealer is to conceal small areas. Why are we giving people the option to paint their entire face or cover more than they need to cover with it? If they want to, they're going to do that anyway. Okay, my skin has enough coverage on it. So now I've color corrected. And at this point, if you have a concealer or a foundation that matches your skin tone to the dot, you can apply a thin layer of that just to mask this concealer a little bit. Though if you pick the right kind of color correcting shade for you, you probably won't even need to do that. So today, I think I'm going to use this shade from Sugar. And the reason I like this Sugar foundation is because it's a cream product in the shade 25 Macchiato. None of the label is left anymore, and honestly I only have this much product left. I have almost completely finished it. It's a really, really good match for my skin. Let me show you. If you've never tried a cream foundation before, because people say that it's for a different skin type than yours, I highly suggest you give it a shot because they don't oxidize. And if you're in a shop and you find something that fits you, you can probably trust it to stay that color. This is going to cover some redness on this area of my face. Very light hand, by the way. You don't want to press hard because you don't want to move the concealer underneath. You want to build the coverage in any spot, you just use a brush again and stipple. I'm going to go ahead and do that on this side of my face. So I moved houses recently and I'm on a very high floor of an apartment, and that has resulted in some really fluctuating light because the clouds passing by, they really impact the sunlight that falls on you. And I think people have an issue with Sugar Cosmetics because they have very yellow shades. But honestly, for someone who has a yellow dominant undertone, I am very glad that someone is doing yellow undertone foundations. I'm going to take this same shade from my cheeks onto my forehead to make it a little bit more cohesive because my forehead is much more tan than the rest of my face. And just spread it out. And you might think that you're pink or neutral, but I highly suggest that you try golden or yellow undertone foundations at least once. It is possible as an Indian person that you have yellow undertones. So that is my face coverage done. And I don't even have any concealer around my eyes yet. Should I just skip it? I think maybe we should just skip it today and focus on the cheek coverage. Okay, so the next thing I want to do to make my skin look a little bit more normal and natural again, because sometimes putting just a bunch of concealer and foundation is going to blur out and clean out the dimension from your face, is I'm going to put back a blonder kind of color. I'm using this Swiss Beauty palette. It's a highlighting palette in the shade 02, and I'm using this shade over here. On me, this reads like a deepish pink color, and on some of the pinker undertone, this would look probably just like a contour color, like a grey, but on me, it looks pink. And it actually matches the hyperpigmentation / blushy tones that I've got going on my eyelid naturally. Let's go ahead and put that back on the cheeks after covering all of that acne. Have you guys seen the boyfriend blush trend on Instagram? I think it's really cool. I like that it's a blush placement that's actually very flattering for round faces. I have one. I have a round face if you haven't noticed. That also helps to set the whole thing a little bit. And now you can see my undertones are, the undertones from my forehead are balanced in my cheeks, and I feel like it's brought back a little bit of color and dimension to my face and makes it look a little bit more natural. I wanted to make sure I did this tutorial in bright sunlight because the sunlight is going to tell you the truth. It's going to tell you, girl, your foundation doesn't match. Get a different one. So I don't really go for a lifted and snatched look with my makeup ever. I don't think it suits me or my face shape or my vibe, honestly. Okay, and now at this point I have enough coverage on my face without it looking like I've just spent hours and hours covering my face with layers of makeup. Especially if you don't have a massive patch of spots like I do, and you just have 1 or 2 here and there, this is going to do a lot for you. I think I should powder my face a bit so you don't feel like I'm a grease ball. Using this banana powder from Mars. For a while there, I almost fell for the whole luxury makeup wave that's been going around. I feel like more and more people are using luxury makeup. To get the right amount of product out, I just and you can see that cloud, and it just deposits the perfect amount of powder on the tray. Okay, hopefully you could see that. But it gives you the right amount of powder without making a mess. Yeah, so I was almost about to go and shop for some very high-end luxury base makeup products because that is my Achilles heel. I just can't, it's my weakness. And then I realized that it's probably better to see if there are affordable makeup products that do the things that I'm looking for, because this is how lifestyle inflation happens, you guys. You buy a luxury makeup product and then you buy another one, and thousands of rupees are going into things you don't need. I do reserve the right to buy a luxury item in the future if I feel like it's really going to make me happy. I just feel like it's been so normalized of late. People go on and on using luxury makeup on all of the reels and all of the content on YouTube, and you start feeling like it's normal and that you should have stuff like that. Well, not necessarily. I do think there is like a band of pricing in which you get really high quality things. For example, like K-Beauty makes products like that where like the foundation isn't in like the 2,500 plus range, but it's also not in like the 500 rupees and below range. And for base product, 1,000 to 1,500 is a good amount to spend on a product to get like quality performance, where you're not compromising on formulation or packaging, but you're also not splurging on it if that's not something you're interested in. I'm going to go ahead and use the darker one to just deepen up the crease a little bit. So using that same concealer brush. Also, this color, really nice setting powder. I think this is really nice for travel because then you don't need to carry a powder or a blush or a contour. Like these three, if you have an olive undertone, these three are really good. So I'm going to go under my eye as well. What? She's adding dark circles to her face? Yes. When you put concealer all the way up to your eye, it makes this entire area look like your cheek, from your lash line to your chin. And if you let this area be a little dark, this entire area looks like your eye area. Usually I put some concealer over here and over here to like make this part of my nose seem wider, and then I like do a little bit here and here. I think I am done. Ooh, I recently purchased the e.l.f. Halo Glow, but I got it in the shade medium tan, which is a little bit darker than my skin tone, as you can see. But I'm very glad that I got a darker skin tone a darker shade, because what happens with products like this that have pearly pigments in them is when you go for a shade that's lighter than your skin tone, it ends up looking like an actual highlighter and not like a dewy skin product. So when you go for something a little bit darker, you can kind of get away with the color because it's sheer, but you do get that juicy look rather than the chromium look. I'm just going to put a little bit of that shine on my eyelids. Maybe I'll put some on my nose as well. And that's it. So this is the finished makeup look. The pretty golden 5 o'clock sun has come out just in time. So let me show you what it looks like. This is the side that had much more acne and acne scars. And this is my better side, where it has the sun hitting it. A makeup look like this is not very decorative and it's not glamorous or anything. It's just a very simple, confidence boosting look, for me at least. I really enjoy having the control that I felt like I didn't have before on how my face looks on a daily basis. Like, it's really shitty to wake up every day and not know what your face is gonna look like for the day. And I feel like makeup gives you that power back a little bit. So if you have hyperpigmentation and you're insecure about it, trust me, nobody notices. I've actually had conversations with friends where I'm like, I'm so insecure about my skin, my face has spots on it all the time and I can never control it, and it just takes months and months to leave. A lot of my friends were like, oh, I never really even noticed that you have pigmentation on your face. Let it be, you're still very cute even without all the coverage. But if you do feel like covering your skin up, you don't need to be using a ton of product. You can very easily achieve naturalish looking skin. So that's it for today. I hope you thought this video was not too shabby. If you found it helpful, subscribe so that I can see your face again. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.